Not sure if that copied all that or not. Let me try this again. So I remembered to bring the tripod out so I can get in front of the camera or phone. And I've got several projects to work on. Where I'll drop the tree and stuff is back in that area, and that's the clearing that I'm trying to make and clear up and open up for solar panels and all that kind of stuff, and where I'm hoping to eventually put the cabin or whatever I use to as my permanent dwelling. But I've got an RV I need to bring out, and I've been thinking I need to put it over there because that's what's open, but I can't even work on that and building the pad till I get those trees out of the way, because obviously I don't want to drop a tree on the RV. Then I got to thinking, right here next to the carport that I put up, I've been parking the backhoe right in here, and my property line goes right there. So what I'm thinking is I've dropped a few trees here, and I may try to level this out and see if I can make a big enough pad to put the RV right here. If I can do that, that'll have, you know, I can even possibly use the carport as, well, a carport. But that'll put me close on that kind of stuff and have me well clear of the other area that I'm wanting to work on. Now, what about power? I do have a big generator, but I don't want to run a big generator all the time. And obviously I've got all my solar stuff. But you can see it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's very little sun over here. Now, the sun is going to be over there where I'm making the clearing. And in between here going on is the power line easement, and you may or may not be able to see the power lines going right there. Now, those power lines are not currently energized, but all they got to do is put a jumper on. So I've got power. If I want to put up a temporary pole, an RV pole right here, I'd have very good access to power. Or once I get all this area, or get a good enough portion of this opened up, I could potentially put my solar panels over there and maybe run some conduit and a temporary line just under the surface. I can't go too deep. I think there's a water line. I believe there's a water line that comes down a certain length, doesn't go all the way down, but somewhere in here it stops. But there's a municipal water line. So again, whether I put the RV on this side or a house or RV on that side, if I want to hook in, I've got power and I've got potentially water right here too. But I could put my solar panels over there, run wire over here, and because I'm using an MPPT charge controller, I can series connect my panels and get it up to about 100 volts on coming off the panels, and then that way there wouldn't be near as much loss on this 50 yards. It'd be probably about a 50-yard run to come over, and well, I could do one of two things. I could either do the solar panels over there and come over about 100 volts DC over to the battery and charge controller in the RV, or if I put the charge controller and the batteries in a box or in a structure over there, then I'd have the DC going into the batteries, have an inverter, and come across AC. I don't think I want to do that because a lot of the RV is 12 volt DC, so probably I could do that. But in any case, I'm going to get to work some more. I've already taken, you can see I've already taken some of the trees down here, clean that up, and then see if I can start leveling it up with the backhoe. So I'm going to let this roll for a little while, see how much memory space or storage space I've got on the phone, and instead of just me talking, you'll get to see one of those time lapse, you know, speed it up on caffeine kind of things. of the things I've been thinking about is how to double check level on some of this. We have from the farm the old style transit where you've got one guy with the pole and one person, you know, looking through the transit and doing that, but that takes two people. Going through the permaculture course, I've made A-frame levels, which you can use just to kind of go out through there by yourself. It works. It's very cheap. It's very light. It's very portable, and it's accurate. Now there's also spirit levels, which is just a long clear tube, or any kind of tube, but the ends of it are clear. You fill it with water, and water always finds a level. So I've got some tubing, and I've thought about making one of those, and I may still do that. But considering there's really no level place naturally on this 6.5 acres, I'm going to be needing to do this a lot. So while I may start with like a spirit level whenever I get my tubing over here and some stuff, I really think at some point I'm going to need to invest in a laser level, because it does essentially the same thing. You can get them on Amazon and other places. You can get a decent one, not ungodly expensive, although when you've got $20 in the bank, everything's expensive. But it does allow a single person to set up a reference point and then just walk around 360 within whatever the range of that level is, and check for level, check for key lines and stuff like that. And I think at some point I'm going to need to invest in one of those. As much terracing and swaling and stuff as I'm going to need to do. In the mood for a caber toss? Okay, so it is the next day, and I think I've done about what I can with the backhoe. Backhoe is not really the proper tool at this stage. I can dig things out and I can haul and move large quantities around with the bucket or the backhoe, but it's not really good for leveling. But for the most part, you can kind of tell there's a bit of a crown right there, and this is where I need a box blade. I need about a 7-foot box blade. Be able to kind of scrape off the top of that here towards where I'm standing, and also off the back, just to kind of level that out. Now, it's not horrible. It is usable. With the leveling jacks, it would not be difficult at all to get it level, and might even either with some good heavy concrete blocks or even some railroad ties, be able to put them in there, level it up, and it would work. This is, I've got it packed down. I mean, I've driven over it back and forth with that backhoe. It's packed pretty hard, although it's going to take a few rains to really settle in. So I think I've done about what I can. The two things I need, once again, I need a box blade that I can put on a John Deere tractor and bring down here to really smooth this and some other places out. and it really needs a layer or two of gravel, because it's going to, even if I can get it in here, get it leveled up, and it's sturdy, whenever it gets rainy and stuff, it's going to get muddy. Now, granted, I'm on a slope, so it should drain fairly well and not just be a quagmire up here at the top, but it needs some rock. So what I really need is money, because a box blade is going to cost money and gravel is going to cost money. So I've done what I can here, and I'm just going to get to work on a switch gears to a different project.